Please remain standing while the chaplain says prayers.
Lord, we thank you for the part of your creation of Fylde Borough, its beauty and variety, and for those who live and work here. Grant those who serve as members and officers your discernment, wisdom, and vision for this borough, both now and the future. May they be good stewards of its resources. We pray for this meeting, particularly of the budget tonight. Lord, in your mercy, hear our prayer.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you. Please be seated. Good evening, everyone. Is there somebody there? Agenda item 1, declarations of interest. Do any members have any personal or prejudicial interest to declare? Yes.
Mr Mayor, I am on the Freckleton Parish Council and the Rostrum Committee for the item on the roof.
Personal.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Agenda item. Thank you, Councillor Feltham. Agenda item 2, budget procedure rules. Members are reminded that procedural rules for the Budget Council meeting differ to ordinary council meetings. And I refer you to the Budget Council procedure rules on page 3 of your agendas. Agenda item 3, confirmation of minutes. I would like to propose that the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 12th of February 2024 be confirmed as a correct record.
I would like to second that, Mr Mayor.
Yeah. Can we take a vote, please? Are we all agreed? Yes. We will move the vote. Thank you. Agenda item 4, Mayor's announcement. Well, I've only got one, and that's, I'm sorry that the Mayor's ball is full. It's sold out, isn't it? Oh. But anyway. Agenda item 5, Chief Executive's Communications.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I do not have any this evening.
Thank you. Agenda item 6, questions from members of the public. No questions have been received from members of the public on this occasion. Agenda item 7, question from member of the council. No questions have been received from members of the council on this occasion. Rattling through it. Agenda item 8, medium-term financial strategy update. Again, I will reiterate, as this is a budget council, all votes on this item will be recorded. I would like now to invite Councillor Karen Buckley to introduce this item.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Fellow councillors, in presenting the budget for 2024-25, I'd like to first of all thank the finance team, headed up by our Section 151 officer Paul O'Donoghue, and all budget holders for maintaining a healthy financial position amidst very challenging times. Our medium-term financial strategy report describes our council finances as robust, which is something that we have come to expect as a council, but is not representative across the whole local government sector, as well we know. 7 out of 10 councils surveyed by the Local Government Association said that they are using reserves to balance the budget this next year, and 2/3 of them will be cutting services. Happily, we are not in that position, but we are forecasted to draw from reserves in 2 years' time. We have no real certainty because we receive a 1-year settlement only from the government, and that is why the prudent approach we have exercised as a Conservative administration since the crash in 2008 is the right approach to continue to safeguard the services and the investment that our residents in Fylde have come to expect. All councils, upper tier and lower tier across Lancashire, are setting maximum council tax rises this year, which demonstrates a consensus of the financial climate faced by us all. Of course, they are subject to a cap, which is not the same treatment for parishes and town councils, who are setting varying council tax rises across the borough. The council tax rise proposed for Fylde Borough for 24-25 is 2.99%, which is equivalent to £6.54 per annum on a Band D property. And you will see this rise as set out in the detailed council tax resolution, which is on all members' desks and reflected in Appendix E in the papers. The format of the council tax resolution is such as to comply with all necessary regulations for council tax setting, and includes the precepts for parish and town councils, Lancashire County Council, police and fire service, and special expenses where relevant. I'd like to draw members' attention to paragraph 1G at the very bottom of the first page of the council tax resolution to correct an error in the proposed car parking fees, which I will read has been updated in respect of the proposed fee for 1 to 2 hours parking on St Anne's Square and St Anne's Wood Street car parks, which were incorrectly stated as £2.50 and have been updated to £2.60. Mr Mayor, we are not moving any proposals to add a further burden on our revenue budget, deliberately so. And the message to all councillors and officers across the council is that our revenue budget is exceptionally guarded because our priority is to ensure the statutory services this council provides are the very best they can be. Budget right-sizing every year contributes to the review of these services. As far as capital expenditure is concerned, again we recognise that there are sizable schemes already on our capital programme, which are either underway or are yet to be delivered. For that reason, the schemes we are adding are modest in size and are set out at Appendix F on page 52 of the agenda papers. And they are 2 schemes for health and safety reasons, which are adding fencing at Fairhaven Lake and footpath improvements at Ashton Gardens, a renewed heating system at the Snowdon Road depot, and a contribution to the replacement of a community centre roof at Freckleton. These proposals have been subject to consultation, which was extended from 20th of February up until this meeting. The 2 responses I'm aware of have suggested movement from the existing capital programme to fund the new schemes in Appendix F, and also a technical query over the use of revenue or capital for the Freckleton scheme. The capital programme is detailed in Part A of the report, and that starts at page 77. And it sets out schemes that we have already committed to deliver, which will not change unless for unforeseen circumstances. and the Freckleton scheme is to be funded from capital, as it is not a filed council asset. I thank the consultation respondees for their contributions, and I would also like to thank the Internal Affairs Scrutiny Committee for their consideration and support for these budget proposals at their meeting on Tuesday the 20th of February. I move the recommendations, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councillor Buckley. Do you have a seconder?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. As the leader has already said in her speech, this council is taking proactive steps to protect its revenue position, and it is right to do so. On page 21 of this agenda, members can see a diagram which demonstrates the process by which the budget has been prepared and the key factors which are taken into consideration during discussions around budget setting. For 24-25, particularly pertinent factors have been uncertainties around local government finance settlements, pay and price inflation, and investment income and borrowing needs, with interest rates still at a 15-year high. These factors mean that material sources of income that support the revenue budget, including the local government finance settlement, the new homes bonus, and the business rate retention scheme, may only remain in place until March 2025. As such, it is important to draw members' attention to this high-risk issue this evening. Medium risks to the revenue budget are shown on page 31, and the root causes of these risks lies with continued pay and price inflation. As I have said before, this council currently is fortunate in that it is largely able to offset the interest income it receives against overheating items of expenditure in its revenue budget. But interest receipts are not a sound long-term funding solution. So with all of this in mind, this evening we are proposing to increase council tax by 2.99% and make the revisions to fees and charges laid out in Appendix J. These are two areas of income where Fylde has some degree of flexibility to increase its income profile, and I hope that members will support the necessary measures this evening. Taking these measures into account, I can confirm that the outturn position in the revenue budget is a forecast surplus of £425,000 for 23-24 and £375,000 for 24-25, with sizeable forecast deficits for the 3 years thereafter. On capital items, the leader has already detailed the schemes proposed in this budget, and I also support these schemes. Within the capital programme, we already have a healthy and ambitious spread of schemes across the geography of the borough and across different portfolios of the council. Of course, like with any council, the capital schemes we have underway are subject to pressures around the complexities of the work undertaken and price inflation, as well as the potential need for external borrowing if required. And these risks are also detailed in the agenda this evening. When we look at reserves balances on Appendix H, which starts on page 98, members can see the positions on the reserves Fylde the council holds. I'd like you all to note this evening that on the 31st of March 2025, the forecast balance on the capital investment reserve is 2.6 million. And this balance is after the budgeted surpluses for 23-24 and 24-25 have been transferred in. On the funding volatility reserve, a reserve which exists to support economic development and cushion against the impact of future funding restrictions, Fylde is expected to have 4.145 million at the 31st of March 25. The other material reserve we have is the General Fund Reserve, which supports the revenue budget, and this is forecast to have a balance of 4.571 million at the 31st of March 25. Members should note that the minimum balance on this reserve should be raised to £1 million on the advice of the Chief Financial Officer in order to maintain a stable financial environment. So in summary, as a council, we need to continue to strive for efficiency and value for money in all areas, whilst protecting quality service provision and closely monitoring the income streams so that we can deliver balanced budgets for 24-25 as well as in the future. And lastly, Mr Mayor, I would also like to thank the finance team, headed by Paul O'Donoghue, and members of the leadership board who have collaborated on this budget. And I second the recommendations in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Gaunt. Right. In accordance with the Budget Council procedure rules, at this point in proceedings, I ask firstly the Leader of the Opposition representative whether he intends to move an amendment or propose an alternative budget. Councillor Lee.
No, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. Could the Leader of the Labour Group please indicate whether they wish to propose an amendment or alternative budget? Councillor Taylor.
We don't have any amendment, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Taylor. Could any of the non-aligned members please indicate whether they wish to propose an amendment or alternative budget? Councillor Hayhurst.
I don't know, Mr Mayor.
Any other members would they like to indicate? No. The debate on the substantive motion will now follow, after which, there's no amendments been tabled, will be dealt with in the order they are requested. But as we haven't got any,
We'll just debate.
we'll just debate. Right. There we go. Opening the debate. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. First to stand. Hey. I'd like to support this budget tonight. There are a considerable amount of councils facing financial difficulties. We are very fortunate not to be one of those. We are in a strong financial position as a result of good housekeeping carried out by this council that failed. This is another strong budget before us tonight, including some more capital investments to add to our capital programme, including Freckleton Rostrum Centre roof replacement. This centre provides a vast array of services to support the people of Freckleton and Fylde, which has been compromised by leaking roof into the electrical installation and fabric. This funding will enable this centre to provide normal service. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Threlfall. Councillor Redcliffe.
It gives me great pleasure to commend this particular budget. This is an annual event, and it is something that clearly all councils throughout the land are doing at the moment, going through the same procedures and the same debates. However, I think it's really important, as the leader has already alluded to, that many councils on a national basis, whilst they may be observing the same procedures as the ones that we are going through tonight, are in very different circumstances. The situation financially that they find themselves in, either through bad luck or mismanagement, I don't know, but they actually find themselves being very challenged in terms of delivering their financial responsibilities. And the reason I emphasise this is that we're not having a debate tonight about debt, about not being able to maintain and sustain our excellent operational services. We're not having a debate about not being able to invest in our local communities. There's plenty of evidence for all of that practice from Fylde Council. And the reason that we are not in the position where we are similar to many councils who are in debt and they can't invest, they are cutting services, they're having to look at their own statutory responsibilities and withdraw from certain areas of activity in our local community. The reason why we're not in that position is that we have sound prudential management of our resources and our finances. And it is something I think that Fylde Council and all those associated with it should be really proud. But we mustn't take it for granted. We've had projections about the future, and that means we must be vigilant, we must be careful with our resources and with our money and plan accordingly. I just wanted to put in a little project here that's fairly modest, actually, compared with some capital projects. And it's a mention for Fairhaven Lake and Gardens, which is in my ward. And the amount is only £68,250 that we're committing to a capital project. And that is to replace fencing around certain parts of Fairhaven Lake. Because the assessment is, from a personal safety point of view, that several people have been falling in the lake. And therefore, it has been taken as common sense to do something about it. But actually, it's not just about personal safety. When you look at the way that the Lake and Gardens has been transformed since 2018, when £1.4 million from the Heritage Lottery Fund was won by this council, and with Fylde Council match funding and other external funding streams, the Lake and Gardens has been transformed. What this amount of money shows is that Fylde Council is committed to improving the local environment and investing where it is seen to be appropriate. The 62,000 will actually provide 302 metres of fencing, 76 metres around the cafe area and 226 from Stanner Bank to the pagoda or the RSPB centre. The fencing will be of heritage design, it will be attractive, but it will also be there to ensure the personal safety of the increasing number of people that are visiting Fairhaven Lake and Gardens. So I commend this budget and that small but very significant project in particular. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nixon, do you still wish to speak?
Yeah, I can fit a few words in, I think. Thank you, Councillor Redcliffe, for that. I speak in support of tonight's budget. I particularly would like to mention the two items that are relevant to my role as lead member for Tourism, Leisure and Culture. Both these items are to improve and protect two outstanding local areas. In this day and age, when there's a motto of where there's blame, there's a claim, we need to ensure that all our residents stay safe, whether it's from falling in a lake or tripping on a uneven pavement. So we need to cover all our health and safety obligations. And my grandson is one of the children that fell in the lake as well. Its fencing would be much appreciated. The whole budget is a benefit to all our residents. It's a good, healthy, prudent budget. And keeping all our services in place is important, but also investing in our borough for all our residents is just as important. And I think that budget that we're proposing tonight does that. Thank you.
Councillor Dixon.
Thanks, Mr Mayor. Very quickly, I'm fully supportive of this budget, but I just wanted to say as well and place on record, thanks to our officers who behind the scenes quite a lot of the time are finding grant funding which we're using in the council, in particular like our homelessness team and homes team, who have found several £100,000 to find new housing for the Afghan resettlement scheme, which we can then use to tackle any homelessness issues in the borough afterwards. That work goes a great way to helping us balance the books as well. So very supportive of this budget, and just wanted to say thank you to the wider officers as well for all their work.
Councillor Dixon, thank you. Councillor Evans.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Further to Councillor Dixon's point, I'm fully supportive of this budget, but I just want to take the opportunity to put on record that our thanks to all the employees and associated staff members of the council, because we can set a budget, but at the end of the day it's down to those people who work tirelessly to deliver the services on behalf of the council to the residents that really make that money go as far as it does. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Councillor Evans. Councillor Morris.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. I too support this budget. Whilst there are many areas included in this budget that come under my portfolio, I would like to draw members' attention to two in particular. In section 10, key areas of financial risk under revenue, paragraph 10.4, section 3 refers to reforms of waste collection, including food waste. As you can see, the Department for Environmental, Food and Affairs, Rural Affairs, DEFRA, announced plans to reform waste collection, including the introduction of weekly food waste for most households across England by 2026. Whilst we have received information on the initial financial support we will be provided to fund the implementation of these proposals, it's currently unclear of the full potential cost implications of this announcement could potentially be a risk to the Council. We're all, of course, reliant on LCC, who recycle all our recyclable waste at the moment, to be able to service this as well, and currently have plans to build a food recycling facility alongside their current recycling plant. We will explore all options available to us over the next 2 years, including the possibility of shared services for food collection with our neighbouring councils. Also, in relation to the depot based at Snowdon Road, as the Lees has already referred to, there is a capital bid in this budget in Appendix F of a Fleet Management Services Workshop heating system improvement. This is to replace the existing heating oil system in the workshop with a more modern, fit-for-purpose, energy-efficient heating system to provide adequate welfare facilities for staff working in this building. I go down there regularly and felt for myself how cold it is in the depot, with the roller shutter doors having to be constantly opened to allow vehicles in and thus allowing swathes of cold air to come in at the same time. The current system is designed to heat the entire workshop area, including the MOT bay, fuel pits and vehicle ramps, rather than heating any specific work area or object. Also heats the whole depot all the way up to the roof. The oil tank, which is currently stored in an external container, which is serviced regularly, have been advised by the contractor that both the oil tank and the container are in a deteriorating condition and will need to be replaced soon. After much investigation, it was therefore decided that the best solution would be an infrared heating system which uses shortwave heat and is designed to warm spaces of zones efficiently and effectively. Infrared heaters are known to heat objects and people directly, which is ideal for this kind of environment. A full costing for this system is broken down in the report and totals £116,740. The brochure attached to the report gives a brief description of how the system works. This, as well with all our other capital bids, will be put out to tender. I commend this budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have any more speakers? Councillor Buckley, do you wish to sum up?
Thank you, Mr Mayor, and thank you to all the speakers in favour of the budget. And just to note, as there's been no amendments, to thank all of the council, hoping and assuming that it will be unanimously supported this evening. And just also echo my colleagues' comments about thanking the staff. Every single member of staff has an important contribution to make, and we do thank them.
We will now go to the recorded vote. Ian?
If you could indicate councillors for, against or abstain. Starting with Councillor Andrews. Councillor Bickerstaff. Councillor Damien Buckley. Councillor Karen Buckley. Councillor Peter Collins. Councillor Dixon. Councillor Evans. Councillor Farrington. Councillor Fazakerley. Councillor Gardner.
4.
Councillor Gaunt. Councillor Goodman. Councillor Griffiths.
4.
Councillor Harrison.
4.
Councillor Hayhurst.
4.
Councillor Henshaw.
4.
Councillor Hodgson.
4.
Councillor Kirkham.
4.
Councillor Ledger.
4.
Councillor Lee.
4.
Councillor Morris.
4.
Councillor Nixon.
4.
Councillor Pittman.
4.
Councillor Redcliffe.
4.
Councillor Redfern.
4.
Councillor Settle.
4.
Councillor Taylor.
4.
Councillor Threlfall.
4.
Councillor Wilder.
4.
Councillor Withers.
4.
Deputy Mayor Councillor Anthony.
4.
And the Mayor Councillor Little.
4.
That's 33 votes for and 1 abstention, Mr Mayor.
Thank you very much. That was carried. Thank you very much, everyone. I've never known a budget like this. Thank you so much. I was very frightened myself when I was coming in, so thank you all. Thank you very much. And I call the meeting closed. Thank you.